I'm Mike Grasher, Chief Financial Officer of the Fortegra Group, a global specialty insurance company headquartered right here in Jacksonville, Florida. On behalf of Fortegra, we would like to welcome you to the 2022 High School 9-12 Fortegra Basketball Invitational presented by CSI Companies. At Fortegra, our mission is to deliver reliable risk management solutions. We're also committed to giving back to our local communities. That's why we're proud to sponsor the 5th annual Fortegra High School 9-12 Basketball Invitational at Florida State College of Jacksonville. If you'd like to learn more about our career opportunities here in Jacksonville, please visit Fortegra.com. Best of luck to all of the incredible student athletes playing here today.
Welcome back to the Florida State College at Jacksonville and the 5th annual Fortegra Invitational presented by the CSI Companies. Ready for our 5th place game. Sean Salisbury, Toby Frazier. Getting ready for the Mandarin Mustangs and Orange Park Raiders. These two teams had losses on Thursday, bounced back with wins Friday. What's the mood? How do you try to close out a tournament well with a winning record?
You know, it starts on defense. These are two evenly matched teams. They both want to get a win today. It's going to be fun. Two well-coached teams. I'm excited, Sean. Let's go.
Yeah, that's pretty much all it is to know, too, is two great coaches, like you mentioned, Derek Kernitsky for Orange Park. Meanwhile, for Mandarin, the great George McLeod. But again, it's one of those things that we keep harping on, that it's 3 games in 3 days. Where is energy? Where is attitude? How do you gear up for a 2 o'clock game on a Saturday that's really outside your normal routine?
You want to focus on efficiency, easy baskets, getting to the free throw line, ball security, low margin of error plays.
Both teams head to the benches, ready for game 2 of 4 on a great day of basketball. Our great hosts at FSCJ hosting this wonderful event for another season. For Orange Park and Mandarin, we mentioned they had tough losses on the opening night of this tournament. Orange Park dropped a defensive battle against Sandalwood. Mandarin run out of the gym like most teams are against a great Providence team. Starting lineups for Mandarin, led by Coach George McLeod, like we mentioned. 3 captains in that starting lineup: Kendrick Bryant, Tiant Weish, Ridge Patterson, Justin Squire, and of course, Dylan McLeod. But that's what's so great about this team, Toby, is any one of those guys in the starting lineup, even Jamie French off the bench, can be the guy to lead Mandarin to a win.
And you know, McLeod, he's the coach's son. And it's always fun to see a coach's son, usually high IQ guys, especially know what the coach wants. So I'm excited to get a look at this Mandarin group today.
Meanwhile, for Coach Derek Kernitsky, his starting lineup features DeAndre Dickerson, Brian Falcon, who had 15 points in the win yesterday, Thomas Fawcett, their senior leader, who wasn't expected to even play before Christmas in the regular season. More on that in a moment. Avery Grayson, their great defensive rebounder and rim protector, and Sherrard Adams coming off a 20-point performance in a win yesterday.
You know, Coach Kernitsky, he coaches with a lot of passion. And his team, the way they play, it really reflects his attitude. They get after it on defense. They love to play the passing lanes. They love pressure. This is going to be a good test for Mandarin today to see if they can handle the pressure of these Orange Park Raiders.
Both teams on the floor. Orange Park in the home whites, Mandarin in the road blacks. Orange Park will have the 6'7" Avery Grayson in the center circle. Justin Squire at 6'3" for the Mustangs. Our officials today: Henry Snyder, Mark Holloman, and Alan Lewis. Underway in our second game of 4 in the 5th annual Fortegra Invitational. Brian Falcon takes it across the timeline, but the Raiders quickly turn it over.
A little miscommunication there by Orange Park.
Orange Park always brings the energy, including its head coach, the always animated Kurt Nitsky. Mustangs work it around. This is Squire. Good kick out for an open three. But it's long. And last touched by the Mustangs on the Weish miss.
That's a tough shot to shoot early on in the game. You're coming out of warm-ups. Early on, you would like to attack the basket, see if you can get an easy shot. There's always going to be temptation to shoot a three early with young players, though.
Falcon, 5'10" senior, averaging double figures this season. Off a 15-point performance yesterday, goes right to the rim and draws the foul. Looks like they'll tag Justin Squire for the first foul in the opening minute of the first quarter.
And that's something that I mentioned earlier, Sean, before the game. You know, you want to attack the rim. The third day of a three-day tournament, put yourself in situations where you're shooting easy shots.
It's exactly what Mandarin was saying during warm-ups of, hey, we can't settle, we want to get to the rim. They get the turnover, but cough it up immediately and down the other way. Good effort by Thomas Fawcett. Had a team high, or I should say 18 points. Sherrard Adams had a team high 20 points in a very balanced win.
And you can see the attention to detail early. Orange Park is doing a good job of putting pressure on Mandarin. They are intent on attacking the basket early in this first quarter.
Thomas Fawcett, labeled the alpha dog by his coach. Had meniscus surgery earlier this summer. Was expected to be out 5 or 6 months. He came back in 3. That is just a different mentality and how rigorous his physical therapy was, how badly he wanted to come back for his final season with the Raiders.
And that is very impressive. I mean, he had to have an intense rehab process.
And he puts up big numbers in big ways. Part of that big 3 for Coach Kurtninski. After losing one of the best players in the area, if not the best player, Josiah Sabino, now with the Jacksonville Dolphins in his freshman season. More trouble trying to bring it across for Mandarin. It'll stay here with Orange Park. I beg your pardon, Mandarin. Fawcett. Good defense and a tie-up inside. Squire had the double team collapse quick.
You know, the energy level of Orange Park right now is just different. Their bench is engaged, they're clapping, and it's carrying over to the players on the floor.
3 on the way off the back of the iron. Good rebound for Dylan McLeod. Squire, mid-range J, can't draw iron. It'll go back to the Raiders.
And Mandarin has elected to apply some full court pressure, which I think is a good idea on day 3. You know, guys are already tired. Let's see if you can impose some more wear down on your opponent.
Mandarin really running up and down the floor yesterday in a big win over Reigns. Attacking the basket with purpose. DeAndre Dickerson will go to the line to shoot 1 after a strong drive and finish.
And that's how you attack pressure. You know, if you're going to pressure, you can't play on your heels. You want to empower your kids to attack it. That's a great job by Dickerson attacking the rim for the three-point play if he makes this free throw.
Nathaniel Houston II comes on as an early sub for the Mustangs. Missed free throw there. And Mandarin clears. Quickly up the floor. This is how they want to play today. Great transition offense, ending with a Dylan McLeod layup. Averaging close to 20 points per game this year. Like you said, you expect the coach's son to be one of the smarter, one of the bigger players for any team. Tough miss there in traffic. Long pass ahead and thrown away by Tiant Weish. Fawcett to the rim. Pretty finish with a little English off glass. Dickerson looking for Squire. Mandarin maintains possession. And a block inside. No hesitation on the pull-up. Mandarin out and running. Easy layup goes down for McLeod.
You know, I like this pace, Sean. And these two teams, with this being their third game in 3 days, they don't look tired to me. This is a frantic pace. I think it favors Orange Park, though. Their attention to detail of getting the ball to the basket. I like this pace for them. They are reluctant to shoot jump shots right now, which is good.
Mandarin holding its ground defensively. They'll lob it back. Grayson gives it up to Dickerson. Now out for Brian Falcon. Too strong. Good rebound. Grayson finding a cutting Fawcett for 2 more.
Good cut by Fawcett after the missed shot.
Crafty move by the veteran, but quickly a 3 goes down for Houston, the second. Fawcett finds Dickerson. Off a little screen, had a sliver of space, couldn't get it to go. Grayson on the second try is fouled going up. Well, you see why Avery Grayson averages more than 8 boards a game on the season. Usually it's being in the right place at the right time, but he knows where to put himself in order to succeed.
You know, and that's going to be the Achilles heel for this Mandarin team. They're outsized on the glass. They got to figure out a way to box out. You know, they're going to have to figure out a way to keep Grayson off the glass. They play good defense for 15 seconds, and then you give up an offensive rebound. It's demoralizing to your defense, especially when you're picking up full court.
And now Justin Squire charged his second foul of the quarter, just past the midway point. He'll take a seat, but the good news for Mandarin, they have the super sub in Jamie French, one of the most highly touted football players, not just in the area, but in his sophomore class in the country. He had 20 points in a win yesterday and is on for the Mustangs. Grayson still gets the defensive board. And Orange Park with the lead, now off and running again. Keon Brown just came in off that last possession, and a good tie-up. Nice anticipation by the captain, Weich. But it'll stay here with the arrow favoring Orange Park. Listen, I mean, they know that Fawcett is going to be the one leading this offense all day.
And Weich has accepted the challenge to say no. He's going to put some pressure on the ball, and you have to go through him if you want to continue to get to the basket.
The All-County running back for the football team, along with the All-County wide receiver in French, team up to force the 5-second call.
And, you know, traditionally, that has been a staple for Jacksonville high school basketball teams. You know, most teams have 2 football players or 3 football players that heavily contribute to the basketball team, which is cool. I think that's cool.
They couldn't connect there, though. Weiss turns it over, lob it up to Grayson. Nice job by French to get back. In traffic, a better strip, and forced turnover by Kendrick Bryant. The third captain for Mandarin takes it all the way. Couldn't finish, but he'll shoot 2.
It's a good job by Bryant, using his body to absorb the contact. It's a good shot attempt. I like the pace of this game, Sean. This is fun. A little hard to keep up, but that's the fun part.
That's welcome sight, though, huh?
Yes, it is.
Mandarin already playing a couple of big games to start the year. Nice to see them shake off a 4-game losing streak yesterday and a 32-point win over Reigns. Coming to this one 3-4 on the year, but they have really tested themselves. They lost a heartbreaker to Bartram Trail, and then lost to Bishop Kenny, Ribault, and then Providence in our championship game at 7:15 tonight. But like we said in our first game, we've said it all the time, you learn these lessons in mid-December so that by the time you're getting through districts in late January, preparing for your district tournaments and then state playoffs, you're going to be ready to handle anything that can be thrown at you.
And the good part about it, you get these looks locally. Usually you have to travel to get this type of atmosphere, the diversity of opponents. So this is a good thing to be able to get these looks locally as well.
French off the rebound, helps Mandarin start the break. Unlucky bounce for Landrick Johnson. 2-on-2 the other way. Orange Park wastes no time, but they can't get the layup to drop. This ball saved in play, but right to McLeod. Neither team looking to settle in the opening period. Quick three on the way. It's short from Houston the second, and Fawcett controls. Double figures in each of the first 2 games of this tournament. Expected to be a big part of a potential Raider win today. Fawcett barrels right into the defense. And we have a foul call on Mandarin. Coach McLeod can't believe it.
Yeah, I agree with Coach McLeod here. I thought that was a charge. Maybe he was within the restricted area, but as far as standing in and taking it, he did a good job of that. Maybe he was within the restricted area, which is the reason for the block call.
Kendrick Bryant tagged with a foul call. George McLeod in his 7th season as the men's coach at Mandarin. He's had a great journey to coaching his son, being a part of this program, a UNF grad. Notable girls coach at Bowles and Paxson.
Always a great opportunity if you have an opportunity to coach at Paxson. That's a lifetime experience. That's a dream job for a lot of people.
Yeah, based on the records, I can see why. Off balance, Jay goes down. Brian Falcon, a double-figure score this season himself. Helps Orange Park take a 3-point lead in the final 90 seconds of the first quarter. 3-point jumper won't go for Johnson, but the pressure again by Mandarin forces an Orange Park turnover.
You know, Mandarin is going to have to allow their shot selection to complement their defense. They do a great job of pressuring Orange Park, but only if Orange Park has the opportunity to take the ball out of bounds, which comes from taking good shots.
Houston the second, been strong off the bench today. It's really been active defenses on both sides, taking each offense out of rhythm so far.
And when I see this, Sean, when I see both teams pressuring this way early, you know, I'm always interested in what coach pulls the trigger to change defenses. You know, who will go zone first, who's willing to change the rhythm of the game or throw that curveball. We look forward to seeing that maybe somewhere in the middle of this game.
Good drive and finish. Archive Triggs. And now Landrick Johnson loses the basketball.
And that's one of those possessions. You're playing well defensively. Give yourself a chance offensively to play your set defense, because you're giving Orange Park problems when they have to take the ball out of bounds.
Falcon dumps it inside. Blocked this time, but no, a foul. Caden Charlton just a hair late on a potential block. Instead, this sends Triggs to the line for 2. Orange Park didn't know what they would look like coming into this campaign, 4-2 on the young season after 23 wins a year ago. Helps when you have the News for Jack's Player of the Year in Josiah Sabino. Averaged close to 21 per game, almost 1,500 points in his career now with the Jacksonville Dolphins. And like a lot of teams where you lose senior classes and core groups that win 20-plus games, you say, well, who's going to replace that production? And obviously it's by committee. They're led by Thomas Fawcett. But Coach Kurtnitsky saying, you know, everybody kind of took that challenge. Josiah would joke with me and say, Coach, I don't know what you're going to do next year without me. He said, no, our guys accepted that challenge and said, you know what, we didn't want to have a special season. We want to have a long run and continue this for our program, a very proud program in Orange Park.
And you want the next kids in line to be proud about their opportunity, to be ready for their opportunity. When you have a talent like Josiah Sabino exit your program, it does leave a big hole, but it also leaves a big hole of opportunity for those next kids in line. And you hold those kids accountable and say, hey, You know, you didn't get to play that much when Josiah was here. You didn't get to shoot the ball that much when he was here. Now he's gone. You know, what are you going to do with your opportunity to continue to keep this program on the level that it's on?
Orange Park now in the bonus the rest of the half, shooting a 1-and-1. Sherrard Adams entering this tournament, their leading scorer on the season at more than 13 a game. Chipped in 20 points in the win over Camden County yesterday. That's what Coach Kerninsky loves. He says, you know what, Josiah, obviously you love having that type of guy, but sometimes we'd panic. We'd almost force it to try to give him his shots. As Mandarin throws it away, it's by committee for Orange Park to start this first quarter. Doubling up the Mustangs and have a chance at a final shot. Good pressure by Mandarin, but they foul again. Out near the sideline, a little too active as French upset with the latest whistle on Mandarin. That's 18 fouls in the first 8 minutes.
And that's going to be the dilemma for Coach George McLeod. Your pressure defense gives you an advantage, but it also puts you in a position where you're more able to foul, you know, with the pressure that you're playing. So you have to make a decision. Do we want to continue to pressure and put ourselves in a position where we may foul and put them on the free throw line? Or do we need to go to something more conservative, maybe like a 2-3 zone or a 1-3-1 zone to make the court smaller, which allow us to still trap in the corners at the high on the floor and also deep corner on the baseline?
I have to fix something. Orange Park getting its free throws too. They split the pair there on the 1-and-1, and now under 5 seconds remaining in the quarter. They have to get it up quickly with Weish. Now so they go to Houston the second. McLeod with one, did not get it off in time, didn't matter, he missed it anyways. And that ends an interesting first quarter here in Game 2 in our 5th annual Fortegra Invitational, which is brought to you by Fortegra. Let's reach new heights together. CSI Companies, your workforce solutions reinvented. Bono's Pit Barbecue, Land South Construction, and by Duval Motor Company, proudly serving Northeast Florida since 1916. Orange Park leads it by 9 as we head to the second quarter at FSCJ. Mandarin trying to settle down here as we enter the second stanza in our 5th place game of the Fortegra Invitational. One too many turnovers, one too many fouls. That's why they settle in after the first 8 minutes. Certainly have a fast attack that can make up this deficit. And they work it inside. That was perfect basketball in the opening possession here.
And to answer my question, you know, Coach McLeod has decided to stick with the pressure defense, and let's see if they can do it without fouling.
Now off the steal, Weish scores in transition as he lands on his back.
Tough finish.
He's used to taking pops from D linemen. I think he's okay on the court.
He's a tough kid.
Good move working inside. They'll call an offensive foul. They'll say Brian Falcon hit a Mandarin player above the shoulder, so that's what triggered the whistle. Only the second foul call on Orange Park in the half. Couple of quick baskets for Mandarin. They work it inside. Dylan McLeod, pretty teardrop floater goes down.
It's a nice mid-post touch for McLeod. Nice jump stop, jump hook in the middle of the lane.
Figure 18 points a game. He's not just bullying people on the block all day. Switching gears with the left hand. It won't go for Adams, but a second chance. Fawcett buries it from the wing.
This is a danger zone right now for Mandarin because they can't really put up a lot of resistance on the dribble because they're in the bonus. And with him just making that three-pointer now, they're getting it from all sides.
Now Dylan McLeod with his first foul. Trying to find position inside. Here on out, Orange Park shooting in the double bonus for the next 6 minutes of change in the first half. Adams stops inside and gets the whistle. Working on the smaller Bryant. Had a big size advantage and took advantage.
And Orange Park has every incentive. Right now, they're currently in the double bonus now for the duration of the half. So they have all incentive to continue to drive the ball to the basket.
It's one of the things Coach Kurtninski wants his ball club to focus on. This team, like we said, won 23 games last year, but dropped a heartbreaker in the first round of the state playoffs to Rebalds. Even though they won the district championship, they lost to the number 7 seed when they led by 11 points in the fourth quarter. And Coach just said, you know what, we took our foot off the gas, we lost focus, and we just couldn't make it up in an eventual 65-59 loss. So we're hungry, but we need to recognize that in every game we play, especially in the spots where we can dominate, we need to understand the opportunity in front of us, like when you have a double bonus situation here.
And those possessions are precious. You know, and sometimes it doesn't come back to bite you until the end of the game, but you have to think about those things while the game is going on. You always want to grow your lead. At any time during the game, you have an opportunity to grow your lead, you grow it, whether it be layups and free throws, but you continue to be aggressive.
So we don't talk about that loss often, but we're very intentional with how we do things and how we want to have those smart habits. Or when we're tired, hey, how do we compose ourselves on offense and defense? Another 5-second call by that active Mandarin defense. Helps give them the ball back. Still trail by 8. Trying to get any of their scores going. They throw it away looking for McLeod. Up ahead, Fawcett on the run. Will lay it in. Mandarin wastes no time getting it up the floor. Layup won't go for Matthew Weston, but gets fouled in the process.
Last possession defensively for Orange Park, they did a great job of rotating and tagging the roller off that side ball screen, which turned into a steal, which they turned into offense. They're very good in transition. There's no defense for a live ball turnover. And there you see it, you turn it over and it turns into 2 points very quickly.
Weston misses the front end. Can't get the second. And a potential second chance rebound bounces off the leg of McLeod. Mandarin has a deep bench. They'll still throw 9-10 guys out there, but really the recipe for a win so far this season has been Jamie French and Dylan McLeod being the 2 best guys on the floor.
And they have to do it by a committee today because this Orange Park team, they have many pieces that they can throw at you.
We've seen it too, huh? That's a nice mid-range jumper to go down. Our Chief Triggs packing a punch off the bench. Free throw line runner, won't go for Bryant. Fawcett looking for Triggs on the leak out, and at the last moment it was poked out of play by Bryant. Nice hustle to at least get the other troops back in time.
Orange Park does a great job of pitching the ball up the court. You know, when they secure a rebound, the eyes immediately go towards their basket.
Fawcett again, a one-man wrecking crew to help push the lead to 15. Weston resets with Weish. McLeod tosses it up, in and out. Mandarin, after scoring the first 2 baskets of the quarter, now falling behind big. Triggs in transition. It's all going the Raiders' way in the second quarter. Incredible efficiency. Now French in trouble. 3 white shirts collapse. He coughs it up. But before that, a foul. No, they will say it was on Mandarin. Orange Park was setting up as if it was going to stay on this end. I don't think the boys understand. Going the other way to shoot the free throws.
You know, Sean, the pressure from Mandarin, Orange Park has become numb to the pressure at this point. It's not having the same effect that it did early on. Could be for multiple reasons. One reason could be because they're in a double bonus. We don't want to be as aggressive to foul or put them on the line, and also could just be fatigue setting in. But Orange Park has become more comfortable. They've hit a couple three-pointers the last few possessions, one off the inbounds there. And if Mandarin is not careful, they could make some considerable separation at this point in the second quarter.
It goes back to this great team chemistry Derek Kerninsky talks about with his team. He says, you know, normally we're ending practice at 5 o'clock. You're cleaning up, putting things away. I'm getting ready to go home. It's 5:30. Kids are still sitting around. They're on their phones. They're laughing with each other. They're having great chemistry, and it just translates on the floor. And that's what we need, especially as a team that wants to pride itself on the defensive end and holding teams under 50 points consistently. That's our recipe to win. We have 3 double-figure scores, but we know things change, especially when you get to playoffs. You're going to have to find a way to win in the 40s and sometimes 30s, Toby.
And it has to be whosoever will. You know, especially with young kids, you never know from night to night. Really, really good kids are consistent all the time, but more often than not, kids are going to be inconsistent, especially with shooting. So you want to hang your hat on defense. Defense is one thing because we can control our effort and our attitude, and that's pretty much what defense is: effort, attitude, and communication.
Yeah, Derek said, you know, we lose a 1,400-point score in Josiah, but I think this is the best defensive team I've ever had, and they've only played 7 games.
You know, and it's when you can get a group that's connected. Guys are connected together, we rotate together, we help each other, and we communicate. That's a great recipe for a good defensive team.
Fortuitous bounce goes the Raiders' way. Adams had it stripped. Quick hands by Weish. Trying to take it himself, goes up and draws the foul. Meanwhile, for Mandarin, try and break down the recipe for coming back. You scored 2 buckets in the first 90 seconds of the quarter, but they've only had 2 points since. How do you work back from a 19-point deficit, and where do you want it to be approaching halftime?
Well, you know, anything below double digits is always good, but the closer to 10 is better on the high side. But as far as what they need to do, they're struggling in the half court. They're great in transition. They have to figure out a way to get stops, whether it be with their pressure or finding some other half-court defense to play. They're taking the ball out of bounds a lot because Orange Park is so efficient on offense. So it's hard to score in transition when you got to take the ball out of bounds.
And it's mostly because that guy right there, Thomas Fawcett, leading the charge, not doing it by himself. He is the catalyst for this team. And, you know, we talk about coming off meniscus surgery and getting through that in 3 months. Said to Coach Kerninsky, describing in a word, said, winner, without hesitation. As a starter in his high school career, Thomas Fawcett, after yesterday's win, is 32-8. Right, there are things, as the former point guard, you just can't teach. It's something that's in his head, and as a leader, when you're expected to be the leader, that's just incredible to think about.
And you know, I can imagine with him going through his rehab, probably thinking about being on the floor today knowing that this tournament is on the schedule, wanting to be out there with his brothers, you know, just proud of a kid putting in that type of effort. To be able to be out here today after that type of injury is really remarkable.
Nice runner off glass for Kendrick Bryant. Mandarin gets to set its full court defense. Broken easily by Adams. Falcon loses his footing, slips up on the sticker, I believe. And will hand it back to the Mustangs with 2:42 to play until halftime. But echoes the message, not only what Orange Park staff said before this tournament, but also a lot of these other teams. Iron sharpens iron. You know, even if you finish in 7th, 8th place, in this case 5th and 6th by the end of the afternoon, you're going to learn a lot about your team and what you have and what you're going to be able to work on and where you stand a month into the season.
And I'll tell you, another thing that's missed, Sean, is you get to watch the teams that make it to the championship game. You get to watch the habits of those teams. How do they move the ball? How do they communicate on defense? What makes them so good? So it's overall a great experience for all the kids involved.
McLeod twisting and turning. Tough shot. That was thanks to the defense by Avery Grayson. Falcon in rhythm. You bet! 38-16 thanks to a monster second quarter by the Raiders.
It's a big shot by Falcon. That is a big three-pointer.
Bryant met on his drive to the rim. He'll shoot 2. It's funny, Orange Park, they play in one of the best home atmospheres in the entire city. I mean, that is a community that really rallies behind its program. Think about last year, they went 14-0 in that building. Only lost 1 game this year, and that was to Impact Christian. Labeled as one of the top 5 teams in the city. Now for Mandarin, they're getting their work cut out for them, but this is that opportunity, right? You go, okay, this is what we have to avoid with the fouling and some of the turnovers that give your opponent easy opportunities. We've seen them clean it up here in the last couple of minutes.
But also, I think that's where the game turned, though, for Mandarin. You know, it's just in your head psychologically, you can't be aggressive as you want to be because if you foul, you're putting your opponent on the free throw line. It just changes the physicality of how you're able to play defense versus how you were able to play it when the game started. So I think that gave Orange Park an edge going into the second quarter.
Fawcett, great drop off. Easy 2 there for Johnny Johnson. Fawcett showing his entire skill set in this first half as a scorer and passer. Bryant slips it back to McLeod. That's a nice jumper. Bryant's really been the one to get Mandarin back in order here late in the second quarter.
It's a nice looking shot by McLeod. He has a nice looking jump shot. Held his follow through, nice balance.
What did I tell you yesterday? Come on, every coach's son can shoot. I swear, that's just something the basketball gods give you.
I know a lot of coaches.
And their sons. Another nice layup finished. Orange Park very intentional. They're taking 3s and layups throughout most of this first half. That's a 3 that goes down for Elijah Cannon. Final minute of the first half, Mandarin looking for a stop. Orange Park already putting up more points than they had in their loss against Sandalwood on Thursday. Scored 36 points in 32 minutes. Looking for more here. Fawcett with a clear path to the rim. Doesn't get much easier than that for Thomas Fawcett.
And with you being in a double bonus, as speaking of Mandarin, you almost have to move out the way on the dribble drives because you don't want to foul. So it's open season at the basket for Orange Park right now.
Trying to go for the block. Johnson commits the personal. 2 free throws coming for Mandarin in the closing seconds of the first half. Cannon will take his time getting to the stripe. For a Mandarin team entering this game at 3-4. in order to stay competitive in the second half. Learn some good lessons from this tournament. It goes to Coach McLeod's philosophy. Strive to be our BEST, being exceptionally special today. But again, it goes back to you're tired. It's a Saturday. You're not used to playing this kind of schedule. Even in AAU ball, it's a little bit of a different format. Get up with this team. Have to find a way to dig in, get stops, score points against a very efficient team, and a silly foul committed just past midcourt. Nathaniel Houston II trying to be active, but again, Toby, they're making that same mistake one too many times.
And that's what happens. Like, you know, that's the double-edged sword when you're a coach that loves to play pressure defense. When you get in a situation where you're in the double bonus, you know, can you play without fouling? And, you know, one thing I used to do as a coach, you have to bring your whistle to practice. When you're a team that press, you have to call fouls in practice so your kids can understand what's a foul versus what's playing hard. And I think that's what Mandarin got into in this second quarter, where they're playing hard defensively, but, you know, with Orange Park being in the bonus, they foul, put them on the free throw line, and it's the separation you see in the score with this 20-point lead right now.
After the free throws, Orange Park up 20. Final seconds of the first half for Mandarin. Got caught in the paint and traveled. Johnson couldn't do much there. And they'll sub in Fawcett for the final possession. Derek Kerninsky actually wants to talk things over. He'll call a quick 30-second timeout. 4.4 seconds, Toby. They only give you about 3-4 dribbles before you have to put something up. But as a coach, right, you always have those plays that you can work in quick time.
I think, you know, with 4.4 left, try to make an initial pass on your side of half court towards your basket. Maybe a pitch back pass for a three, or you try to set a screen for somebody going to the corner, which is in the line of sight of the inbounder on the sideline. Or you may get it to one of your faster ball players and just say, hey, you got 4 seconds, use your speed, advance it as far as you can, and get a good look.
It'll be Adams to inbound. They send Fawcett down the floor. French, going to be a wide receiver playing DB there. Heave at the buzzer, won't hit the backboard or the rim, but a nice stop nonetheless. At the half, Orange Park in front big thanks to a strong second quarter, 46-26. We'll step aside for the moment, come back with one of our great sponsors, Eric Mann of the YMCA, coming up next.
Hill, baby. All right, give me a here. Look at me. Sean, ready? 1, 2, 3. All right.
Halftime here in our 5th place game at the Fortegra Invitational presented by the CSI Company. Sean Salisbury with the man, Eric Mann from the YMCA. Bring us through this. I know you were a baseball player in college. What do you love most about being part of this event, watching all these 8 great teams battle it out?
Well, the other side of my baseball in college, I played high school basketball. So basketball is one of my loves, and I enjoy coming to this tournament because you get to see some really good talent in our city, and the Y being involved is very special as well.
I know you've had a tremendous journey with the YMCA over 4 decades, being with them in Charlotte and Pittsburgh. You've been along the First Coast for the last 10 years. What makes this community special, maybe aside from wearing short sleeves in December? What have you liked most about being involved the last decade?
Well, part of it is the community is so engaged. They really care about giving back to the young people in the community, and that engagement provides great resources that is really special. To have a community that supports a lot of the good things for our young people is really one of the things that I love, and the people of Jacksonville are very welcoming. So it has been over 10 years, and we love it here, and we're not going anywhere.
Yeah, and I know a couple of years ago you got the Mackenzie Scott Grant, something that was just such a great, generous donation. What have you guys been able to do in the last couple of years? What do you have your sights set on towards building in the future now that we're past all the COVID stuff and it seemed to be back to normal now?
Well, part of the resources from the Mackenzie Scott allowed us to really stabilize our reserves, which during COVID, that was a big, big support, big help. But really, our market is growing, and we are positioned to continue to grow as an organization. We really depend on the community. And so we've got several new projects that are going on. We're renovating the Ponte Vedra Y. Now it's called the Brown Family Y. We're now looking at the Winston Y, but we're also in the Durban area. But including with that, all of our youth programs are going, whether it's camp, whether it's residence camp, after school, youth sports, all of our youth programs are just flourishing.
Yeah, and yet here you are, you're still trying to add more to your plate. I know you just started a new position with the Jacksonville Civic Council, elected to that earlier this year. Can you bring us through that journey? What are you trying to do with that position now? Why are you trying to add more to your plate? Seems like you do enough already.
Well, it wasn't like I didn't raise my hand for it. I've been a member of the Civic Council. Civic Council is an organization that is made up of 70 of the top business leaders, CEOs in Northeast Florida. And I've been a member, and I was approached to see if I might be interested in being the chair. And really that particular role is how do we activate that leverage and leverage that power for good for Jacksonville. That's really what the mission of the Civic Council is to help Jacksonville be the best version of itself. And so being a part of that and helping with that leadership and that guidance and looking at, right now we're working on our strategic plan. We're looking at 2032. What do we want Jacksonville to be like? And then we do that and then start working towards that so that young people like yourself, you come back to Jacksonville, you stay in Jacksonville, and just the quality of life, making Jacksonville its best version is what we really want to do.
Well, tell me, do you still have time to play golf, put your feet up every once in a while? I mean, come on.
I do get a chance to play some golf. Contrary to popular belief, I do work, but I do enjoy getting on the links a little bit as well. So, that's part of it. If you really care about the community, and this is now my community, anything I can do to help make it better and be part of that process is worth it.
Anything else? How can people reach you? How can they learn more about the YMCA at Florida's First Coast?
Yeah, go to fcymca.org. And I'm fairly sure there's a Y in your community. We're in 5 counties, and we have a great leadership team and just doing some really good work. And so this time of year, you're doing our holiday gift giving to a lot of young kids. Over 2,000 will get gifts from our community and our members. So, but yeah, fcymca.org. We would love to talk to you how we can help you or your family.
Eric, thank you so much for stopping by, doing great work at
All right.
YMCA and all over Jacksonville. One of our many great sponsors for this event. Orange Park in front, 46-26 over Mandarin. We'll be back for the start of the third quarter in just a couple of minutes. Orange Park ready to open up the third quarter with a big lead out of halftime. Sean Salisbury, Coach Toby Frazier with you. What adjustments are you looking for? Final 16 minutes in your third game in 3 days. And we talk so much about habits when you're a little fatigued and tired. What's the message for each side?
Well, you want to finish strong. The key for Mandarin and the blessing for them is they don't have to start this quarter in the bonus, but they have to do a better job on the offensive glass. If you're Orange Park, you want to keep your foot on the gas, keep attacking the rim, and finishing in transition.
DeAndre Dickerson draws a crowd. Now Brian Falcon working on the smaller defender, had his pass tipped, still finds its way to Dickerson. Good hop step and a little English. Puts it in off glass to open the scoring in the second half. But again, like you were saying defensively, it's one too many layups for Orange Park today. Yes, Mandarin answers with a runner of its own. Kendrick Bryant has been electric since those final 4 or 5 minutes of the second quarter.
And Mandarin seems to be re-energized. You know, it's a different mindset now when you start the quarter. You're no longer in the bonus. Your defensive intensity can pick up a little bit more. You know, hopefully they can get some stops together.
Dickerson knocks it down from the mid-range. Orange Park, last week listed as the number 6 team in the News4Jax Super 6. They were removed to make way for Nice. In this week's update by Justin Barney, playing a little angry, trying to make a statement in their third and final game of the Fortegra Invitational. That off the mark there. Justin Squire, who picked up 2 early fouls, back in the game for Mandarin. After his rebound, the Mustangs settle it down in the front court. Bryant probing, now gives it up to McLeod. Setting up Weish for 3. In and out. Heartbreaker there for the Mustangs.
Shot didn't go in, but that was a good possession, good execution by Mandarin.
And then Avery Grayson made the catch in a tight spot underneath the basket. And that's a turnover as he stepped on the end line.
Both teams, they do a good job of getting the ball out of bounds quick. You know, there's always a discussion between coaches, Sean. Do you designate somebody to take the ball out of bounds, or do you let the closest person to the ball take it out? And it looks like both teams have decided, both coaches, their idea is to let the closest person to it get it.
Deont Weish called for the foul. It was physical defense from Brian Falcon. Officials say that he poked it loose, got possession in time as he and Weish were on the floor. I know there's some fouls not going Mandarin's way in their eyes, maybe, as Falcon drives inside, gives it up to Grayson, and now he steps on the sideline, but we're seeing the contrast in a couple of physical defenses. Now Falcon crashes into the seats. Took one too many steps backwards. I'll have to readjust some of the chairs. But we're seeing Orange Park being physical without fouling to a certain extent.
You know, and that's the maturity of the Orange Park team. You have to know your guarding space. You have to know, your guarding distance, showing the referees your hands, using your body, sliding your feet. Like all those fundamental keys to playing good defense is what Orange Park is displaying right now.
They force another turnover. Dickerson with a fake. On the move, drops it off. Triggs with a couple of bounces off the rim. Picks up right where he left off in the first half.
That's a nice pass. Nice baseline drive with a dump off. Nice dive from the 45 angle. Excellent offense by Orange Park.
Not known to be a big-time scorer for Orange Park, but a welcome addition nearing double figures now. Squire puts it on the deck and beats the defense for 2. Good job getting around the defense. Everything but the finish for Adams. Grayson cleans it up.
Grayson has done a great job today of offensive rebounding. Mandarin hasn't done as well of a job as keeping him off the glass. He's done a great job of giving his teammates second opportunities.
Off the Weish miss, Fawcett one-on-one. Incredible defense by the 5'7" Kendrick Bryant. They give it away again at midcourt. And we'll have a tie-up on the block. This time it was Dylan McLeod with the stingy defense. Mandarin basketball trailing by 24. We're seeing the highs and lows of Orange Park. They opened the season with a 2-point win over Reigns. We're neck and neck with Impact Christian Academy. 1-1 in this Fortegra Invitational. It's great to see how each of these teams respond. You lose your first game Thursday, you win Friday. What's left in the tank for Saturday?
And your next opponent is home, getting this nice view to scout you over this nice live stream that we're doing today. And that's always been a tough thing for coaches playing in the Fortegra. Your next opponent gets a free scout.
Come on, Toby. It's not the mid-90s anymore. Isn't everything online? Don't we all have Huddle? We don't have access to each other's film.
That is different.
I don't know if I buy that.
It is different because sometimes you reach out to coaches and they don't want to share film. So I may be friends with Sean Salisbury and he's getting ready to play against Mandarin and Mandarin wants the film. I'm not going to give the film out on my buddy.
There you go, the coach's insight there. 2 times in the Final Four with Paxson in the last decade. One of the best point guards in the area, Toby Frazier, taking us inside the locker room for a moment. Gerard Adams will back it out for the Raiders. Nursing this big lead thanks to that guy right there, Thomas Fawcett. Incredible.
It's a nice drive by Fawcett. He's such a tough kid, especially knowing what he's been through, what he's fought through to get back, just to be able to play. He's putting on a nice performance today.
And our Chief Triggs continuing his strong performance off the bench today. McLeod on a path to the rim, can't finish, got his own miss, couldn't put it back. Grayson clears. Been that kind of day for Mandarin. And now a 3-point jumper goes down for DeAndre Dickerson. Timeout Mandarin. It's all Orange Park here in the third quarter. What was once a tight game in the end of the first quarter has ballooned to a 31-point advantage for the Raiders.
And the fatigue from Mandarin, you can see it. It set in that last possession, transition possession. They had 2 players that didn't cross half court, and that's just a sign of fatigue. So, you know, I spoke about it earlier. You know, how could they sustain that pressure? Would Coach McLeod elect to change defenses, maybe going into a zone defense for a few possessions to give his team a chance to get some rest? You know, he decided not to, which is fine. You know, but it's hard to play that type of defense against a team like Orange Park with the solid ball handling that they have. They have really put attention to detail to attacking the rim, and it's showing in this 31-point lead that they have right now in the third quarter.
Just incredible precision. That's what you said, too. That's what makes them feel not more dangerous than last year when they have the player of the year in the city. But it's just so many options that it must make it so hard to prepare when you know, okay, if we try to take Fawcett away, there's Falcon, there's Grayson, there's Adams that can still score 15 or 20 and beat you.
And I would like to be in that situation versus having one kid scoring all the points. It's easier to deny that kid the ball. His teammates are used to him making majority of the shots. So they have an array of talent. They have several guys who are capable of scoring. And you see it today. It's fun to watch, and I'm excited to see how these Raiders continue on throughout the rest of the season.
Johnny Johnson on another beautiful setup. French throws it into traffic, gets intercepted. Now Keon Brown. The sophomore working inside, winds up traveling.
And you see Coach Korniski there saying no. You know, he does a great job of coaching his kids up. He's animated, but he's passionate. He's positive, but he's hard. But he's also fair at the same time. One of the best coaches that we have in the area. Florida State guy to his heart. He loves Florida State.
Former manager there for the Seminoles. Good transition chance. Terrence Tuggles will go to the line for the Raiders with 1:03 to play in the third quarter. Such a great story when we think about Derek Kerninsky from West Palm Beach. Like Toby said, graduated from Florida State in the mid-90s, took over Orange Park in 2014. And he was open and honest about it when his son said, you know, Dad, they won 8 games last year. Isn't this kind of a step down? Wouldn't you want to go somewhere? He says, no, son. It's a good lesson. We only have one way to go. And he said, with the community and the environment and just being in that area, we can build something. And now, after last year, they won the district championship for the 3rd time. They lose, again, Josiah Sabino. Not a lot of people were picking them to be towards the top in the pecking order in the city this year, and yet here they are again, putting together a dominant performance, now up 35.
And that Orange Park program, they have a lot of pride. And it starts with that beautiful Raider Dome. You know, that's one of the best facilities in the state of Florida, just to have a dome on a high school campus. You know, it's a great atmosphere for kids to play in. He's done a great job, Coach K, as they call him, you know, during his time at Orange Park. It was fun coaching against him. He's always a first-class guy, and he's continued to grow that program.
After a nice McLeod layup, Brown misfires there. Mandarin throws it away. Tuggles. Good step inside. Caught it in a tough area. Good footwork gives him the basket, and now we'll have a foul inside. It'll go against Orange Park, and 2 free throws coming with the clock running in the final seconds of the 3rd. So we may have the always uncomfortable 2 free throws for Matthew Weston. We'll actually stop the clock with 1.8 seconds left. Usually I've seen it, they just send both teams to the bench.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting. I'm not sure what the rule call is with stopping it.
Either way, everybody settles down. Weston can't hit either, and Brown, nothing he could do there. Let's say the shot actually got off in time. But a miss, 67-32, all Orange Park in our 5th place game of the 5th annual Fortegra Invitational, which is brought to you by Fortegra. Let's reach new heights together. CSI Companies, your workforce solutions reinvented. Bono's Pit Barbecue, Land South Construction, and by Duval Motor Company, proudly serving Northeast Florida since 1916. 4th quarter on its way in just a moment. Orange Park to inbound, leading by 35. Raiders well on their way to a 5-2 start. Perfect team basketball. Johnny Johnson couldn't dunk it, but free throws coming for the Raiders. I wanted to go for the highlight there. The bench was ready to get up and jump. Instead, the 6'4" junior will head to the line for the Raiders.
That's a nice dump off. He did a great job of getting behind the defense in what they call a dunker spot, which he got an attempt to dunk. Guess why they call it the dunker spot. That's good offense coming out of a timeout. You enjoy seeing coaches come out of the timeout with a set play to get a particular player a basket, and that's good execution by Orange Park.
How many times have we seen that today? Just that extra pass or that little slip, the deliberate movements that turn sometimes broken plays or just moving that fast Like moving fast on right there. Elijah Cannon with the basket, but it seems Orange Park in their half court, they're just executing at such a high level.
Yeah, they're connected. They know where the ball should go. Everybody knows what they're doing, and they play unselfish, which is, I just love to see young players play together. It's always a happy sight to see.
Good shot. The make just not there for Elijah Hall on the extra feed to the corner. Mandarin trying to move the ball up the floor quickly. Just losing their footing there on the opposite side of the floor. Dylan McLeod. There might be a wet spot or something. That's the second time we've seen somebody go down in that area. Make sure they clean it up, prevent any sort of injury or harm. Always tough when some of the stickers go down on the floor. Clock stops with 6:07 to play today. Get you ready for our first our third place game between our two semi-finalists, Sandalwood and Oakleaf. Coming up at 4 o'clock before our championship game at 7 between Providence and Nice. The Stallions, two-time winners of this event in the first and second iterations. And then Nice declared the winner last year after Fleming Island was disqualified due to using an ineligible player. Can't wait for two more great games on the docket today. Off an Orange Park turnover. Acrobatic move by Elijah Cannon. He's rewarded with 2 free throws for the Mustangs. You know, where do we look at Mandarin now? Obviously, it leaves a bit of a bitter taste in your mouth after a nice win over Reigns yesterday. But you're playing some of the best teams in the area. You drop a tough game to Bartram Trail, where Dylan McLeod scored 37 in that game. You lost to Bishop Kenny. You will yourselves to a win against Matanzas. But where do you go from here? How do you assess it when you're about to face a 3-5 start?
You know, first thing that I would do is we break down the tape of these past 3 games. And you take away some good stuff and some bad stuff, and you put it on tape in front of the kids. And you do some soul searching. You look yourself in the mirror and you say, hey, this is what we put on tape this weekend. This is what we need to improve at. This is what we did well. These are the things that we can't do going forward if we want to be a successful program. So you have 3 consecutive days of great game film to where you have some highs and you have some lows, and you have to go reevaluate that and let those experiences improve you for the better for the duration of the season.
McLeod, strong drive, more free throws for Mandarin. This is a program, they won their district in 2019 and 2020. That is the number 5 seed, taking down number 1 Nice and number 2 Bartram Trail on their way to a playoff appearance. We know the tools are there. Nobody's doubting what George McLeod can do as head coach, but like you said, I find that interesting. At Paxson, would you break down all 3 games, or would you take the snippets of the good or bad?
Mostly bad, because the kids know what we do well. Coming from the summer to fall league, entering into the season, they know what we do well. They know what we should be trying to do. You want to clean up those mistakes. You want to show them their errors and make them own up to their errors and not make excuses for the things that they don't do well. And once kids see themselves messing up on tape, the next time we watch tape, they don't want to duplicate those mistakes, because there is a sense of embarrassment there. But it's healthy, because that next game you're going to say, hey, coach is not going to be able to call me out for not rotating on defense. Coach is not going to be able to call me out for not boxing out. So watching tape, it hurts. You know, it's like medicine. You know, it doesn't taste good. It doesn't taste good, you know, but it's good for you.
After a couple of Orange Park turnovers and some Mandarin points, the last basket by the senior Turl Hamed. The Mustangs playing tough despite the margin. McLeod shooting a pair, hits the first. McLeod, the star junior from Mandarin, their leading scorer, hits the pair. Justin Squire will replace him. Brian Falcon back into the game after a frustrated Derek Kurtninski. Brings back some of his starters. Some sloppy play despite a 27-point lead. They find the open Keon Brown. He's got another 3 for Orange Park. Raining it down on their way to a big win, putting up 70 points today. After that 3, it's the most they've scored in a game this year.
And Coach K will be happy about that. Anytime you can put up that amount of points, it's a pleasant sight for a coach.
Lob inside, identifying the mismatch. Nothing anybody could do there against the 6'4" Johnny Johnson. Steal off the inbound. Kevin Monterola. But I'll take it in the half court for Orange Park, approaching the final minute of play. And Coach K throwing his hands up. No need to take another shot in a dominant win. It's pretty tight in that first quarter as Triggs travels. It was 11-8 at one point near that final minute or two of the first quarter, and then Orange Park hit the bonus at that point in the first quarter after the 7th team foul of the half by Mandarin. They hit their free throws. They made the most of forcing turnovers. And we saw that second quarter, that lead ballooned to a big margin at 20 points at halftime. And to their credit, they built on that in the second half.
And I think that's when the flow of the game switched for them. They had a great intensity on defense to start the game. Once they got in the bonus, the intensity slacked up, and rightfully so, because you don't want to foul. And credit to Orange Park, their attention to detail was to attack the basket. They only shot 2 jump shots in the first quarter.
Layups and threes, the recipe for success for Orange Park. Moving on to 5-2 and taking the 5th place in the 5th annual Fortegra Invitational presented by the CSI companies. Meanwhile, Mandarin drops to 3-6 following the loss, 3-5 I should say, after the loss today, after a win over Reigns yesterday and lost to Providence on Thursday. Coach Kurtninski will lead the troops over. Place their name on the bracket before heading home. Great day for the Raiders. 23 wins last year, but losing in the first round of the state playoffs. They are hungry and ready for more. Coach Kurtninski will join us in just a moment after his team's biggest win of the year. Score their most points after scoring 68 against Flagler Palm Coast earlier this week. We'll get Coach on headset in just a moment. His team wins it 72-40. Coach, take the seat with us. You know, it seems that this team starts and ends with Thomas Fawcett. The guy that you said, describe him in a word, is a winner.
Oh, yeah.
Now 33-8 as a starter. How did he propel you guys to that big lead in the second quarter?
He's the guy, he handles the ball, and I just told him, take the ball and go right to the hole. It wasn't a whole lot of coaching. Just take the ball and go right to the hole and go score. And he's dynamic, and, you know, he ain't big, but he can get in there and squeeze in there and make those shots.
And this is a team, you win 23 games a year ago. Yeah. You have the player of the year in the city. And you lose that. There's some questions of how do you replace the production of Josiah Sabino? And, well, the answer clearly early in the season has been by committee. What do you like so much about the depth in your team and all the options you have where if one guy maybe doesn't have it, somebody else can take over?
Yeah, a lot of these guys played last year. And they have a little chip on their shoulder that we're more than just JoJo. We love JoJo, but it's more than him. And we could really shoot the ball. I mean, we really shoot the ball really well. So that helps us. When you put the ball in the hole, makes your defense look a whole lot better. But they're, you know, they're experienced and they're veterans and they know how to play basketball. You know, we have a program, you know, not just a team, you know, and that's important for us.
Walk us through it now. You lose a tough, low-scoring game on Thursday, and your team bounces back with 2 big wins Friday and Saturday. What does that say about their maturity and the fact that, look, they say all these things, we want to reach the playoffs, we want to win in the playoffs. Did they prove something to you this week?
Oh, yes. I told them that, we played horrible on Thursday. We just didn't hoop. I mean, there was no other way around it. We were horrible. But we did show a lot of maturity coming out and playing well yesterday. I just want to play well this time of year. The wins will come. We just want to play well and play our game and get it rolling. So we did really good. We got better in this tournament, and that's what we wanted.
Where did you improve the most? Where did you see the need to improve before heading into January, where it really starts getting tough before districts?
We didn't shoot the ball well on Thursday. We're a good shooting team. So I just told them have confidence, believe in themselves. Defensively, we're solid. I mean, we give up 36 one night, 58 yesterday. We give up 40 today. We're solid on defense. And they like playing defense, so that's important for us. And as you get deeper and get into the playoffs, you got to defend people. You got to guard people.
Hey, what'd you say earlier this week? Maybe the best defensive group you've had since taking over.
It might be.
What a job by Orange Park to lose Thursday, bounce back with big wins Friday and Saturday. Coach Korninski, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you so much. I love the shoes. I need those.
Yeah,
I like the dunks.
Yeah, we need the dunks, right? Got to be comfortable here sitting courtside all day. 2 games in the books, still 2 more to come in the 5th annual Fortegra Invitational presented by the CSI companies. Orange Park takes 5th place with a big win over Mandarin.